Hi guys! Okay, so I told you a couple weeks ago that I was going to make you a video on the Konmari Method, the life-changing magic. The life-changing magic of tidying up. Here we go! And I just kind of wanted to give you a backstory of my journey of decluttering and starting to just really purge items. So a few years ago I did a challenge, and in this challenge we were required to count every single article of clothing, and I had over 500 articles of clothing, which was just insane. And I think I had set a goal to get rid of 150 items, and I believe that time I might have gotten rid of 200 items. Just really purged my closet, and it felt amazing. Over the years I kept that in mind that I had at one point had over 500 articles of clothing, and so every once in a while I would just kind of look at what I had and go through it and get rid of it. And I felt like I was constantly bringing in new things and getting rid of old things. And for a while it felt kind of good, you know, because I was actually getting rid of stuff instead of holding on to it like I had in the past. But the problem is that the amount of items I had was not actually decreasing because I was bringing in new items. A few months ago, after I had moved, I did this again. I counted every article of clothing and went through and purged 100 more items. Granted, I didn't have the 500 items that I had originally had the first time I did this challenge, and it felt really good to do that again. But I just still felt like I had so much stuff. So much stuff. And I would see these people's closets on Pinterest and Instagram and YouTube, and they looked so put together and so nice, and I was like, that's what I want. That's when the journey of figuring out how to really declutter and purge my items began. I had first heard about the Konmari Method exploring Pinterest and just looking for ways to declutter my closet, to organize it and just get it all in order. And this Konmari Method kept coming up, and so I was pretty interested in seeing what the Konmari Method was all about. Decided to order her book, so I got, as you can see, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And then I also got the companion book Spark Joy, which has illustrations on how to organize certain items, how to fold certain clothes, all that sort of thing. You don't have to have the book to do this method. If you are not in the place where you really want to get rid of things and you are really into decluttering and tidying up, this book probably isn't for you. It's not necessarily an interesting read per se. So what I'm going to do today is give you 4 easy steps to start implementing the Konmari Method. The first tip that she suggests, and I absolutely love this, is that you tidy by category. So the very first thing she wants you to start with is clothing. So she suggests you take all of your clothing out of your closet, out of your dressers, out of your hall closet or entryway where your coats are. If you're like me and have clothes all over your car, she says to get every single article of clothing all in one place. That way, when you are going through things, you don't stumble upon a box later in your tidying and go, oh, I have this whole other box of clothes I need to go through, and then risk keeping things that you don't actually need or want. Step 2. Go through your clothing, picking them up one item at a time, and ask yourself, does this spark joy? She says if something does not spark joy for you, it needs to go. Spark joy is the biggest key here in decluttering your closet in your life. And it's just allowing yourself to get rid of things that no longer bring you that happiness that they may once have, and being able to just kind of let that go. And then what you're left with is just a closet or items or books or movies that just bring you absolute happiness. You're not bogged down by these things that are just kind of there taking up space. For a lot of us, we're like, well, I need a winter jacket, and you know, that doesn't really spark joy that I have to have a winter jacket. But there's a sense of joy when you have something that you need and use and that has a purpose. I was really nervous about getting rid of clothes. I have hoarded clothes since I had started gaining weight. I was so uncomfortable with my body that I was worried that I wouldn't have enough clothing items that looked good on me, and so I would just hoard all these clothing items. But the thing was, I wasn't wearing them because I didn't feel good in them still. And so when I was going through my closet to figure out what sparked joy, if I really loved a piece, but it did not work on my body, I tossed it. And that was kind of hard because it was like, I love this item. It's my style. I would love for this to work with my body, but it doesn't. And so I have to get rid of it. And instead of bashing myself that my body didn't look good in it, I just said this, this wasn't for me, and passed it along. Step number 3 is to remove the clothing that you are going to get rid of from your house right away. Before you put any clothing items away, the ones that you have chosen to get rid of, you need to get rid of. You actually need to physically box them up, put them in your car, drive them somewhere where you no longer have access to them. Someone's vacuuming upstairs. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but so professional here. This is for my cover shot. Stop doing that. No, I think it works. It doesn't work. No, it's good. If you can name that movie, I will love you forever. Alright, back to business. It's funny because as you begin, you're like, oh my goodness, I don't want to get rid of any of this. And then as you're going on, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get rid of this and this and this. And then the next thing you know, you have purged 100 items. And it feels amazing because now you have the possibility to spark joy for somebody else with an item that no longer served its purpose for you. And the final step is to start to put back the items that spark joy and bring you happiness. And one of the recommended ways for this, for the Konmari method, is to keep them all in one place. Do not scatter your clothing around the house, but keep it all in one central location. Have you ever tried to make a YouTube video? Because it's rather embarrassing talking to yourself like this. Anywho. Alright, so I hope the Konmari method has helped you. If you would like a video on specifically putting your clothes away, how to store them, fold them, hang them, all of that, I would be more than happy to provide that video, so just let me know. Next week, we are going to be talking about how I built my first capsule wardrobe.